When you're making a movie, you always want more money. More money gets you more time, gets you more resources, etc. And the thing is that I made an independent movie, didn't have a big budget, and so I learned a lot about working within constraints. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the lessons I learned from that and how I'm applying them now to the video content that I'm making with AI, and how you can too. So backstory is that I was in LA and Hollywood and writing scripts and nothing was getting made. And so I decided to make my own movie and raise the money and produced, directed, and wrote it myself. And the way that I did that was, first I started with the resources that I had and then wrote a script around that. So in other words, I had this location that I could use. It was a big house. It was on the water, big backyard. And so I knew that I could use that to shoot a movie. And if I set the whole movie in that one location, then it would be lower budget. I wrote a comedy script that all takes place in a bed and breakfast. So I had the house to use, and I turned that into a bed and breakfast for the movie and shot a whole movie there. And this is it's a comedy movie. It's out on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. You can check it out. Captain Hagen's Bed and Breakfast, it's called. But so from that, low budget, and so we didn't have a lot of time to shoot. We had to move fast, small cast and crew, all that. But one of the big lessons is first looking at what's possible with the resources you have and then designing a project around that, as opposed to the opposite, which is what most people do. Is first they'll write a script or come up with the business idea, whatever the plan is for the project, and then they'll go try to raise the money for that, get the resources for that. And that can work, but it's harder than if you start with the resources you have and create a project around that. And so I'm using movie, and I'm about to get into what I'm doing with AI tools for video as the example, because that's what I did. But this really applies to any kind of creative project, art project, and business. It's going to be much easier to start a business if you start with the resources you already have versus you have to start from scratch and go raise money and get a bunch of capital and all that. So let me talk about the movie thing. Now I'm making AI videos. You can look on my YouTube channel in the short section and see a bunch of AI shorts that I made. And then now I'm making, videos for clients using AI tools. And the thing about using AI tools is right now they are limited, right? There's only certain things they can do, particularly when it comes to video. You can't just type in, give me a scene of a man jumping off a roof and falling through the air and shooting at a plane, and then he lands and does a roll and blah, 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 blah. You can't just type that in and it'll give you like movie-looking version of that, right? If you just try to write a script or a video and then make it with AI without thinking about what AI can do, what the constraints of the AI tools are right now, you're going to run into some challenges, okay? But on the other hand, if you start with what are the AI tools capable of right now, what do they do? And then let me write the scripts for that, like that will incorporate that, and that will be tailor-made for what the AI tools are good at right now. So if you look at the short section of my channel where I made a bunch of AI shorts, if you watch a number of them, you'll start to see some patterns, which is, okay, if you have a close-up on a face, like a shot that's you can just see someone's face, there's an AI tool that I use called DID, which is good at making the characters talk. And you can see there's a lot of these just close-ups of a character talking in the shorts, right? So that was pre-designed because I knew that if I had a bunch of characters in the shot, it's very hard to make one of them talk and then make another one talk. But if you do single shots, then there's a tool you can just put in the image and it'll turn into a video of the character talking synced with the audio that I put in. So you can see that these shorts I pre-designed them so that there would only be single shots of the characters talking, because I knew that the AI tools need to do that. And then when it comes to the action, you can see that the action is still limited and it doesn't look amazing, but writing as simple action as I could in order to make the shorts possible, right? So where there is action, I didn't do some crazy complicated fight scene or something because it's just not going to look good with AI tools. And some of them are a little further reaches than other. If you look through the videos, some of them I went for some more like extreme action. Thor's hammer, like smashing into a wedding cake and the whole thing blowing up. That was a little more complex of an action and it worked. But so point being is like thinking about the constraints and before you make the tools. And so I think it's really important right now with AI video. If you want to make good AI videos, you have to first understand the constraints and then write something specific to those. Right now it is good at just going back with characters talking. You can do mild action. If you look at a lot of the AI generated videos online, you'll notice that a lot of them use voiceover, right? Because like I was just saying, it's hard to have multiple characters in a scene talking to each other. And even the single character talking, which you could look at my videos, it doesn't look amazing. Like it still looks weird. And so a lot of people are making AI videos that just have voiceover, so they don't have to deal with the talking and they can just have some action and you can see how it works. And you'll also notice that a lot of those online are in trailer format, meaning they're quick shots and clips, and they're not like long scenes, right? Because again, long scenes are hard with the dialogue and you have to have the same characters and people interacting, whereas you can just generate these unique clips. And that's why a lot of people are making like trailer style videos, right? That's something also to take into consideration is like, yeah, it's easier to just do these little clips and actually build whole scenes, but you do it how you want to do it. But the point is that look at the limitations first, then create. And okay, so I've talked a lot about video and movies. I just want to expand it a little bit beyond this because maybe you're not specifically a filmmaker or that's not exactly your thing, but you're working on some kind of project. And like a business, it's much harder to start a business with just a great idea that costs a lot of money to produce and go raise it versus what are the constraints that you already have? What are the resources rather that you already have? And what are the constraints with and creating a business within those constraints? So in other words, if you already have, you have a computer, right? Probably, and you're watching this, you have internet, right? So you can do something via Zoom. So thinking about what's the first part of this business where I can just do some coaching, consulting, something that's just on Zoom before I even build the product. What's some way that I can convey, that I can start to give people the value that I have via, say, a Zoom or online, right? And this is a bit vague, I get it, but a lot of people are, let me start some kind of whole company that does X, Y, and Z, or let me build a software product, or let me do a whole big service, an agency, something like that. Whereas find a way that you can just do it now with reach out to your network before you build a whole online, people go straight to, let me build a whole online funnel. And so I got to build the landing page and then the sales page, and I got to set up all the social media and make a lead magnet and then a front end product, back end, all this stuff. And then they spend a lot of time building out that whole business. And then they have nowhere to go with it and nothing happens. And I've done that myself versus how could you just start doing the service now, whatever it is, the teaching, the coaching, the consulting directly. So reach out to, in other words, start reaching out to the people already and just offer them a direct one-on-one service. Try that. So the point is, look at the resources you have and work within those. How could you actually do the project, whatever it is, a movie, a business, anything, without needing additional resources? With just the resources you have, how could you actually make it happen and do some version of that, right? So let's say you want to make a movie, but you don't have the money to shoot it, but you can use AI tools, but the AI tools are quite limited, as I said. So make a version of it. Make an animatic, which an animatic maybe is just images and you have voiceover and stuff over it, meaning you don't even get to the actual video, but you could do some video, animating of the images, but make some low budget, some AI version that's going to look wonky. It's not going to be a movie like you would see on Netflix or something, right? It's not going to be that level, but you can make a cheap version that's a little wonky from AI, and then use that. People will get interested in your movie from that, and then want to see a bigger budget version, and you can use that to raise money. And that raising money could be from private investors or film financiers, and it could just be like kickstarting it, right? Like a crowdfunding. But instead of, if you look on like one of those crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo for movies, they have some kind of pitch video where they're talking about the movie, but you don't really get what it is. But if I could watch like an animatic version, AI version of it, and be like, oh wow, this is a really cool movie. I just want to see it with actors and made for real. That's going to be a much easier sell. And the same thing with a business, right? If you can demonstrate a low budget version of the business, and demonstrate that you have value to give to people in the form of a service, then people are more likely to pay you for it and pay more money for it and help you build. In that way, you can build the actual bigger business that you want to build. Thanks for watching the video. Look at the resources you have now. Build whatever you want to build. Build the first version, right? The first version. It's not the final version. Build the first version of what you want to build or create within the constraints of the resources you already have. And then you go from there. And then you can build towards the bigger vision. Thanks for watching this video, and tune back in tomorrow for the next one.